Thank you for being here today. I know there's a lot of other things you could be doing today. St. Michael and All Angels is having a fashion show, and that's a big fundraiser for them. So I really appreciate you coming here and being with us. Welcome to our February volunteer and member update. And it is always our mission here at the museum to preserve, share, and celebrate Sanibel's history. And we're honored to have the Gavin family here to celebrate some of their history during Black History Month. And we're sorry we won't be hearing from Kenneth Gavin because he's in poor health today and can't be with us at this time. But we wish Kenneth and his family the best and a speedy recovery. We do have his younger brother, Eric, here in his stead. and he'll tell us some of his stories that will truly contrast with some of those of his older brother, Eugene. So please welcome Velma Gavin, Eric, and Eugene. So this is a little difficult for me because I had written this up to have Kenneth here. So Eugene, Kenneth, and Eric began their lives in the quiet days of early Sanibel, when many of the roads weren't paved and access to the island was by ferry boat or mailboat. As part of a very large family, responsibilities came at an early age. We hope to understand what made them the men they are today, having grown up here and then later serving in the military and even in the ministry. Eric, I know that you grew up here probably a little time when we had a few more paved roads.
Yeah, most of the roads were paved. Maybe Island Road wasn't paved,
right?
Something like that. But yeah, most of the roads were paved.
Right, but and in this very large family, Eric is the youngest. So it's very different for Eugene. So Eugene, can you tell us what your responsibilities may have been as part of this large family?
Always like to take charge. So I'm not the oldest. I can tell the whole gang members. Well, first I want to tell you, is everybody familiar with the lighthouse? Yeah. The first TV that came to Sanibel was played in the lighthouse by Mr. Maid, the Buck, and all the others things that you see around here. I'm kind of familiar with, and if I'm not, well, my wife, she knows quite a little bit, and she like it good, but she not no Teddy in front of everybody. Okay, I'm Eugene Emmanuel Gavin, and I'm the fifth largest member of the Gavin family. And my mom side was the Walters, and I was born on Cat Peeper. And it's some of you all I'm looking to see it. Anybody here I know that was born in Cat Peeper or ran around Cat Peeper. I think I know 2 or 3. I'm not gonna call their name. Get to know them. You'll probably see them at the New Bailey store on Cat Peeper, the new one that's on Red Road, not too far from where I live with my parents live. And I used to run around with my father. I didn't run too much. I worked too much. I like to try to do what he was doing, getting stopped because I would say things. And my father used to get up in the mornings before day, because he'd have to go to work early so he could get things done so he could run down a phone, something calling for mom. Mom's mother didn't go to work till that fairness. Hers, she's here and here somewhere. She's over there called by her. Lovely one.
Is she?
I think she.
There she.
Yeah. Yeah.
I kind of like to look at my audience, so. Wait. I think each family member has one of these pictures. And so we have, what you say, list down with just about all of the Gavins, Walkers, Bridges, name on it, and it's almost about half as big as what it is table. And I think she was supposed to rank, but she said that's too many folks to be in this.
For them to hear in the back, they need that microphone too.
Oh,
Yeah.
You need this back there?
Yeah.
And stand up.
Okay, I'll try to do my best. Well, let me tell you a little bit about me, and then you'll know where I'll talk about most of the time. But if I don't talk about it, there's like solitary to see it. I need you whatever I need to know. But I'm Eugene Emmanuel Gavin, born January 14, 1942, at Tiva, and used to ride around with my dad most of the times and work with him, do my best to help him. And he would get up early in the morning for day, and he'd have a headlight, and he'd put it on so he could find all of his tools, because, you know, the kids move stuff, and don't put it back where they did. And so I see the headlight moving around. I want to see what he do. He'd be getting into some stuff out there. And I'd get out there and I'd get in the truck before you would, so I could go with him. You'd see about it, you know, because sometimes he'd get us a line. While I'm here today, I won't tell on it. They thought that just about no everybody. This is there. He's the youngest. That's still when she tried to keep me in line, and she do pretty good. The one thing she did, she didn't help me with Hurricane Ian. Ian came through and just tore up everything on Rabbit Road that I'm trucks, cars, tools that I had to work with. I thought I could put everything back together, because that's what my father did. And I got started, and boy, was I working. And up the stairs and in the attic, in the yard. And one day, we thought we were going to church, because we go to SDC, Sanibel Community Church. Anybody familiar with Sanibel Community? Yeah, had her. Okay. And I got halfway down the stairs. Feel like my chest was caving in. And I said, we're not going to church today. And she kind of looked at it, but I was holding my chest. And it felt like it was caving in. And I said, take me to the hospital. And she did. She kind of didn't put a siren on, but she got me there pretty quick. And I had, I think, how many blood clots in it for?
You had 2, it was in your legs, blood clots in your legs, both legs.
Can you tell the whole story?
You just had blood
Okay,
clots in your
anyway,
legs.
I thought it was full, because I was hurting it about everywhere. And she took me there, and they said I had blood clots and something they said about my heart. And I really thought I was having a heart attack. But I hadn't had one before, so I don't know why I was feeling like that. Never had a heart attack before. I'd never been sick before. Always was well, because I kept myself in order. I went to the military after. Anybody familiar with Hurricane Donna? What's quite a bit of Donna familiar here. Anyway, I went into the military right after Hurricane Donna, but I had registered to go in before Hurricane Donna came, and signed the papers. And Mom and Dad had signed the papers because I was too young to help things on my own. And Dad said, you know, you're not going in the military. You're going to stay here and help us get Sanibel straight. And I said, shoot, the military, if I'm gonna get me, you get mom. And the tears too, they don't play. But I thought that too. He said, no, you're not going. So I could just stay there, help pull trees out the road, and paint houses and do a number of things. So I started down. And after we got that pretty well and all the trees out of the roads and everything, I was able to go into the military. And believe it or not, segregation was here to stay. I went down to the bus station, colored water here, white water was over here. Anybody was familiar with that?
Oh, yeah.
I know you were. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I went over and got me some of the whiteboard. I thought that was pretty good. But did nobody bother me, just looked. But I was getting ready to go to serve my country. And I believe I would have fought then if I would have been challenged. But I got my little drink of water when I got on my bus. And the driver said we could sit in the back seat. And believe it or not, I had to slide on back there to the back seat. But when I got in Miami, the induction center, they said, you don't have to worry about this no more. You sit anywhere you want in here. So I went and sit in the second row up front. I was taking charge already. But anyway, I got just about the first 4 shots, and I was ready to get on the back seat. Because those shots was coming down the record. And those of you that was in the military, you familiar with me, you gonna get them shots. And I got my shots and got on the back seat. I'll stay back here until I get to Larry Air Force Base. I didn't get to Larry. I went to, what's his,
McDill,
no, not McDill.
Fort Seal.
You didn't write the book. I had a brother that he had already went in the Air Force, and he was sat at home. And he met me there when I got off the plane. I was surprised. But mother told him, Eugene, it's coming. See that he get well taken care of. And he liked to be boss too. So that was kind of a mess. I said, I ain't gonna be bothered with you, because he kind of liked to drink a little beer. And I didn't. I did not drink at all. Didn't smoke. I was a clean cut kid. And Eric is Kenneth today. Just Kenneth led me to Christ. And I got baptized over there by 41. Anybody put me 41? Mm-hmm. Yeah, the air temple with 41 is because he be sneaking over there fish.
Watch it.
Parents out there, everything.
He wanted to stop.
And just anywhere out there, fish out.
What?
If I can start my basic training, I went to, and I'm thinking, boy, I'm going to really go. I got an uncle in Philadelphia and uncle here, because we had a big family. I could, wherever I went, and I even had a girlfriend in Macon, Georgia.
Well,
You took you didn't know. Where did you think they sent me to Georgia? So boy, my nose got over it again. But anyway, I stayed there until Kennedy said he was wanted a force, that it was Army, Air Force, Navy, and Marines. And then they sent me to McDill Air Force Base. I said, dog, I'm going back home. I'm about to be picking up shells and holding shells and pulling weeds at the old timers. Anybody had me pulling weeds at their house? It's on it. Well, it was Ruffin, Lance Ruffin. Anybody that knows Lance Ruffin, name, I know you did. She knew everybody. Did you read the book?
Yes, sir. I'll ask that question later on. I'll ask that later on about Clarence.
You better ask me now, because I'll forget it.
No, I'm gonna push on you a little bit. So how many years were you gone before you came back to Sanibel?
I was gone for what's it? 8 months. I
Okay,
finished basic training and stay in tech school, and then I came back home to show off,
right, the uniform.
Yeah, to show the uniform.
Yeah.
And you knew, I almost said Kenneth Copper, but it wasn't Ken. Pickens and King.
Oh, yeah, Jim Pickens.
Jim Pickens, he had been in the Air Force,
Right.
and I had to find him because I had to show my uniform. I was there in second class already, and I think he was there at first. So I found him. So we had to sport around a little bit.
We had quite a few island kids join the service and join the Air Force, and I believe Ralph Woodry was another one. I think he was in the Air Force too.
I didn't get to know Ralph Woodry. He lived kind of around the corner, way around the. You know where he lived.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
So I didn't get to know him. That was Oscar's group.
Right.
Yeah. Anyway, I didn't get to know him. And when I see somebody going to speak, and I can only pick on Casey. She's trying to take a snooze over there. And I'm going to tell a little short story right quick. When I was in school, my daughter sang, I think, about 8th or 9th grade or something. And they were doing junior achievement. Was anybody familiar with junior achievement? Anyway, she said, Dad, I want you to come and speak in my class. I said, well, I don't really speak to one. Her name was Tawana. I said, I don't really talk that much. What you want me to say? Tell them about your business. I said, don't tell people about my business. But anyway, she talked me into coming, speaking to the class. And the first thing I told them, I said, I'm here to tell you as much as I know. And if anybody finish listening to me, feel free to leave. And a couple of students got up and left, but there's some that didn't like the one. And anyway, I told the story. And then after that, is anybody familiar with the school on, what is that? This,
Dr. Bay?
no, this is in Fort Myers. Dunbar School. But anyway, she found out that I could talk. And so she started having me to teach her class. Now, I'm not a school teacher, but I can tell a little story. Some of my big stories. And anyway, I became a substitute teacher.
Wow. We didn't know that.
You didn't hear it?
I did not.
Look on page 2.
Oh, okay. Can I interrupt you a minute here?
No, don't interrupt you.
Just 1 minute.
Okay.
Just 1 minute.
Sure.
Eugene and I were here for Hurricane Donna, but the one thing I remember about our streets is that they were absolutely impassable. The Australian pines were everywhere, and it wasn't small trees. These were massive trees. Mm-hmm. And I remember that we couldn't have done it without his father and his saw. Could you tell us about the saw that he had?
Anybody in here familiar with the saw other than Eric and Velma and Debbie? Can you bring your saw in here? Isn't it in? It's a picture.
We had a picture of it. I don't think we have it right now. Just describe it. Does it not have wheels?
Yeah, had wheels, otherwise he'd put some on it, you know that?
That's right.
Okay, here we go. Okay, I know some of you, because some of you are older than me and some are younger than me. But you remember the songs, you one pull and one push? Okay, Uncle Oscar and Dad would do the pine trees at Futterman, cut wood for families that had the stoves. And Dad, Uncle Oscar couldn't quite coordinate it, and he said, you'll have to do something else. He said, so he told me to come over there. And I'm saying that he'll holler at me, but he ain't gonna holler at his brother. He was the oldest. So I got over there and I just did pretty good because I push and pull and push and pull. And he said, this is not fast enough. So he invented his own saw, one with the 2 wheels, a Briggs and Stratton engine. And he had rolled it up there and he had Bob Dean welding the tilt, fix it where you could tilt the saw, cut the tree down, and then tilt it back up and cut the length. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
And so that saw became a historical piece in the museum. I think we still have it. If not, Velma got one, and she hiding it from me because she don't like that. She don't like me to play around with tools.
She's a smart woman.
I'm smart.
Yeah.
She's smart enough to get 3 meals a day at my house.
Did he patent that saw? Did he get a patent on it?
No, Negroes couldn't patent things. I'm serious now. Listen to me. I tell the story like it is. They couldn't patent. And he didn't know nothing about a patent either. You tell him patent, he come to patch. But it was a patent, but we still got the picture. And we still got a history.
Story.
Yeah.
She know. Anything you want to know, if you don't know where I am, ask her.
I'll work on it.
Thanks.
I'm going to cut you off here because I want to hear a little bit from Eric and you. I'm going to go to my next question, which was because of segregation, you weren't allowed to attend school with Sanibel white children. The Sanibel school on Sandcap was finally integrated in 1964. And perhaps only some of your youngest siblings, which would be Eric, went to school at the school on Sandcap. Did you attend the school at Tarpon Bay Road? Did you have a chance to attend there, or did some of your older siblings?
That would be me.
Well, yes, okay. And when you were there, how many children were in school?
7.
Right.
The Lee County Board of whatever they were, directors, bosses, but said you'd have to, because mom and dad went there to try to get the school open so that we could go to school. And they say you have to have 7 children. And Dad said, that's all right. I got 8. Thanks. So,
And counting.
yeah, and I can get more.
So after you went to the Tarpon Bay School, then you had to go to middle school and high school on the bus, correct?
I never rode the bus to go to school.
And how did you get to school?
Should I go rent me some?
Rent what?
A boarding house or something?
Oh, okay. But did
No.
you ride?
Here's where it was.
Okay.
My sister Elvira was one of the older sisters, and she had 3 children. So I told mother, no, I'm not going to ride no bus because I'm not going to because the white children would have to ride the bus first. I said, I'm not going to deal with that. So I moved in with Vera and went to school. And the next year, I moved in with Bernice Dowse, which was the first cousin. He went to school. I never caught the bus. But I tell you one story about the bus, and this is the true story. Saltus was one of the principals, and he would drive the bus from Fort Myers for a ransom and pick up the children, my brothers and sisters, and take them back. And he ran off and left on one day.
Yeah.
And I made him halfway the next day and told him, okay, you leave one of these, my brothers and sisters. And they don't have no way to get home in the midst of the ferry, because the ferry got going at 5 o'clock. I said, you and I don't have it. And I had a few words with him, and guess what he did? He had a few words with Oscar the next day. And I done kind of beat him up with words. He can't get to me because I'm working for J.P. Carter Company. You ain't know about this yellow truck.
JP Carter Company was our supply link to the main line. It was run by Paul Stalin, and you two worked for Mr. Stalin and also Kenneth, right?
Yeah, Kenneth worked for Paul Stilling first, and when he left and went to college, then he said, you need to take over some of the things that I'm leaving around. And he gave me his Dodge. I got a car and a 22 rifle. Yeah, so I had what I needed to survive. But anyway, that's the way that was. And I graduated from high school, drove for Paul Stalin, Paul and Panetta Stalin. We always give her credit, but she seemed like she was intelligent.
Well, she was, but she was very nice.
She was. And Paul was nice too, but he'd be over there trying to build a house and so.
Right. He needed to be kept in line.
Yeah. And most of us do. Eric, I better let you say something.
Eric,
Thank
really,
you,
we do
Eric.
want you to talk about, when you went to school, did you start in kindergarten at Sanibel?
Yes, I was born in 1965, so the ferry wasn't running, and there wasn't the segregation within the school. So I started school at Sanibel Elementary in 1970 through 1975. I went to Sanibel Elementary.
Okay.
And the thing that was interesting was that there's the Jordan family, which I'm sure most of you are familiar with the Jordan family, that's related to us as well. There was the Jordan family, and my cousin Tim and I were the same age. And there was the Prestons, the Preston family. They were very popular around Island Inn, as some of you may be familiar with. And so they had a son, Roosevelt, who was a couple years younger than me. And they had begun the desegregation process. And in third grade, my next brother, which is Kelvin, was a couple years older than I was. So when I was in third grade, he was in fifth grade and began to come to school on the mainland, riding the bus because we had the bridge and everything. So he was riding the bus to school. And so it was myself, we called him TJ, my cousin Tim, and Roosevelt were the only three Black students at the school. But since they had begun the desegregation process, my cousin Tim and Roosevelt ended up going to Heights Elementary School. And so from third grade through fifth grade, I was the only Black student at the entire school. And so it was a little bit different, but at that young of an age, and fortunately, the environment had changed so much from the times that Eugene had described with a place here for whites and a place here for colors and all of these different things that he went through during his time. I didn't experience those things, and friends were friends, and we didn't know anything about color. And although my older brothers and sisters who were going, especially to the high school, they began to see a lot of the impact that the desegregation process had on kids, because now you're mixing races, and there was a lot of animosity amongst the races at that time. This whole desegregation thing was a huge thing. But my parents had the wherewithal to not expose us to what it was that was going on. So when the kids, my older brothers and sisters, would come home from school, they had some stories to tell, but we didn't have the ears to listen. My parents would send us off, the youngest of us off, and the kids would talk about the things that would happen. And of course, later on, they told, us younger siblings about the things that they experienced, the fighting and the riots and all of the different stuff. But Sanibel was a safe haven at that time for those of us who were growing up in the later years. And we were well protected from so much racism and so forth, because number one, our parents kept it away from us. And I think that the other parents of the children on the island kept it away from them. So we just grew up knowing that that's my friend, and we didn't so much, know any difference between what was skin color. Some of my friends had a better tan than I did. That's hard to believe, but yes, ma'am. Oh, sorry, I'm sorry.
Are any of those old friends still on the island?
That goes no.
But I don't even know if Shane was Kelvin's age. Shane was a little older than I was. But as far as like my classmates, I don't think any of them are on the island. There's still some that are in the area. Some of them are moved to the Pine Island, Mablachet area. But most everybody moved away. We were part of that age group where once you got out of school, you left home, and some people left and went way off, and maybe they came back to the area, but they may not have come back to Sanibel in particular. And so most of the kids that I went to Sanibel Elementary with, they moved away into other places.
I'm really happy for Eric to tell us this, but I want you to know it wasn't always paradise for the Black community here. There was often some underlying angst between people. And
Eugene, would you like to give us a short story
Yeah, please.
about your maternal grandparents, Harry and Pearl Alice Walker? You have told me a story about their home.
What they in, bro?
Your-
Come on. Sure. I was proud of my grandparents, both sides. One was a Walker and the one was Gavin's. And if they were never away from us and we didn't see them, sometime that week, that month, Dias lived on Charleston Bay Road, and she would get down to Mother's where we lived on St. Cat Road. I didn't, because I left too early. I got beside myself, I just went on and got out of Dodge. But they were always coming to see me, and like Hannah. That's Hannah.
right, your grandma.
And so just starts to the left is Snakes,
Pearl Alice.
Fairlands.
Mm-hmm.
And Harry and Pearl Alice lived on Tacon Bay Road, up where the park is. It's working.
Oh, good.
You go where the park is, where they park and go to the beach. Okay. Pearl Alice and Harry live right across the street there. And she would, if mom or dad didn't get down to see them, they would have to go in and walk on down to the house, because it's just up on top of down top of Bay Road on St. Cat. And Isaiah and Hannah, they used to be at the house so much they had just built them a place up there on St. Cat Road. So pretty soon, Hannah and Isaiah were living there with us. Uncle Buddy was living there, he built him a shack too. So everybody was right there together, so and it was kind of like a harmony.
But it sounds like you always had structure. You had adults that were always looking out for you, even though there were a large number of you.
It was not too large for my grandmother and grandfather.
Great.
And my grandmother used to make sea grape jelly. Anybody believe in sea grapes? Sea grape trees?
Yeah,
She'd make sea grape jelly, guava jelly, and make pies and cakes all the time. So if she didn't get to the house to see her, we go in and see her. And it's I'd go see if we had something with them.
It's very hard to make sea grape jelly, as much as it's talked about as,
It's hard to make it now, but the sea grapes are only about the size of your fingernail.
right. But it was hard back then too, because the seed is so big. There's really not that much meat on a sea grape. But did she have you collect sea grapes for her?
She had a big sea grape tree right in front of her yard. It's still there.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, but I'm not gonna try to make no sea grape jelly. But Richard Bailey did ask me if I could get him some sea grapes.
Oh, and you said maybe.
No, I told him I'd try to get you some trees.
Oh,
Because little trees, you can see them all the time. And I go put them up a tree or something and take it on.
right.
Yeah.
Great. Okay, so that was Harry and Pearl Alice Walker, but your grandparents, Hannah and Isaiah Gavin, they assisted Daisy Mayer when she was living in this house that we're in right now. They assisted her with daily chores, and when the three of them were quite elderly. And they lived in the caretaker's cottage. And is there anything you can tell us? Did they also live on the island, or did they go to Fort Myers part of the time?
Isaiah and Hannah, well, they first lived up at Island Inn. You remember the, I guess I better turn around, get the finger turn its machine on. You remember the two-story building that was in the back of the kitchen?
Yeah.
Isaiah and Hannah, when they moved to Sanibel, and I'm not going to get that date together yet because I don't have my book handy.
1917?
1917, but they didn't go there right then.
No, they went to Gray Gables
Gray Gable.
to be with the Nutt family. Weren't they with the Nutt
Yeah,
family?
they was up there at the Nut House.
Right.
But, yeah. It's not.
That was his name. That was actually
It's not like that. That was their name. And the graveyards are still there.
Right.
And that's where they lived first. And then later they moved to the Island Inn. And that's where mom and dad thought they were going to get to know each other. Raise a family. No, get to know each other. Do that first. And that's after that they moved to Captiva. And then I showed up.
changed everything.
So do you remember Captiva as a child, or
Just wasn't no bigger than these.
okay, so you remember a little bit of
No.
Captiva?
I didn't talk.
Oh, okay.
No, I wouldn't talk to nobody then. When it was Dickie Lane, you know where Dickie Lane is?
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
that's where it was. And it was a 3-unit apartment house. It was one of the farmhouses that they used to use. And they were lucky enough to go in there one night and stay. And that's what they squatted for. I think about 2 or 3 years. And then they moved out. Then they moved on out in the road. Wasn't Island Inn Road, because Island Inn Road ran east and west. They would turn right off of Island End Road and go down into the woods. And there was another farmhouse there. And that's where we moved next. And we stayed there for I'm going to have to write my book again. We stayed there for about 3 or 4 years. But while we were off of Island End Road, we used to go to the beach and we would walk off of Island End Road and walk through the nuts. Now, these are not nutty people, that's the name.
Right.
We walk through the yard and go to the beach, and we would shell back and forth. We'd go east and west on the Gulf and pick up shells and put them in the baskets and there to come down through there. I think we did a good job, and he'd take them to the shell factory and sell them. But we didn't get paid.
Yeah, I think your father got paid.
That will appear. He got paid just about everything he did. And I found that I'm looking at you because I'm talking to you now.
Okay.
You remember that little card that Dad had? Remember that card that told his whole life story of what he did? Yeah. Anyway, I never saw that, but it told he did landscaping, he did cutting wood, he did shells off the beach to make driveways. And I was surprised of all the things he did. And you did some of that stuff too.
Yeah.
Yes, you did. That's the right name down. I'm up on that side.
Yep.
Well, I'm sure he was a jack of all trades.
No, he didn't call it a jack of all. He didn't like that word jack.
Okay. Okay.
All trades.
All trades.
He's a tradesman.
Now, did his brother Oscar, did he have the garbage business? Right.
He had the garbage business, but that was his.
Right. That was his.
Yeah.
And is your brother named after his uncle, Oscar?
Yeah, he got that name somehow.
I've always wondered that.
Yeah. Everything that Uncle Oscar.
Well, that's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we had a brother named Isaiah that was after his grandpa.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. But we didn't have no animals.
No, that's too bad. That's a good name. That's a good name. I'm going to make a joke.
I hope I laugh.
Did the Rhodes name one of their sons Eugene after you?
No.
The Rhodes family, there were 2 on the island. And here in the village, we know Ray Rhodes because he's done the video back in Bailey's. But there was another Rhodes family that was pretty rough and tumble. Did you want to mention them? Do you have any quick stories for us?
The only one I really know was Henry Rhodes, which was the father. His wife, which drove the school bus for the white children. But, because we didn't have a bus, we had to walk to school or figure out a way to get there. I either have school at home. So, but Ray Rhodes is in Fort Myers now, I think.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But he's not from the Rhodes family I was thinking of.
He is.
Well, what about Henry Rhodes?
Henry Rhodes was the father of all of them.
Well, what about Glenn Rhodes?
Glenn Rhodes might have been the oldest son. See, I didn't have time to play.
They lived close to you. I was just wondering if they were ever trouble.
No.
They were wild.
Well, they moved wild, but they had to straighten them out. The one thing that, and this is the way Dad was, don't bother his kids. They don't care who it was. Stats and Harry, Hannah, and Isaiah, who whip you till you a little blue in the face. That's me now. but nobody else better not bother the kids. I'll tell you a little story. When I was working for Paul Steeling, I was driving a truck and I had alcohol on the truck. You know, I had restricted license too now. But nobody gonna bother the yellow truck.
Right. We all needed the yellow truck.
Yeah. And I forgot who was the manager down there, but they said, you can't come in this door. And I had to go to the back door. And I called upstairs and said, we need to do something with this liquor. And he said, what's the matter? The man won't let me bring it in the store. And before Paul Steeling got there, Dad got there. So he was too grown for him to be one man. It bothered one of the kids and the driver. It was about that driver. I still got to go to Captiva, South Seas, and all up there, turn around and come back and close up. So when you hook up with, and it was scary money too. I'm 16, I think it was. And I had one of these long money bag like this, and that's what we'll put all the money in. All the alcohol had to be paid for. No alcohol was not credit.
Yeah, you had a lot of responsibility.
It was.
Yeah, yeah. I'm going to change subjects here because everybody that's here, or many people I should say that are here, they're volunteers and they help explain the buildings to people. And so you started to tell us about Clarence Rutland earlier. Can you give us a little?
I can't tell you too much about Clarence Rutland because Clarence Rutland, at my time, working for him, he worked with somebody else. So I'd get there and he'd just tell me, did you pull that grass, do that, do this, do that, and he'd gone.
Right.
So I don't know too much about him. But he was our hermits.
Right. I agree.
Yes, sir.
Did you know Esperanza?
Yes. The cats that big?
Yep.
I sure did.
Yep. And when I go through this, did you make deliveries, for J.P. Carter to all of these houses at one time, probably? Maybe.
Yeah, Bailey's store was lit.
Was that your big drop off at Bailey's store?
Bailey's store was the big drop out. The old store that's over here somewhere.
It's right there. Yeah.
Right there.
When it was on the bay.
Mm-hmm.
And did you get along with Frank Bailey?
I didn't know Frank Bailey. I didn't know him now.
No.
But there's that big picture in the living room.
Oh, okay.
I beat up on him.
But you knew Francis Bailey better,
Yeah.
his son.
Tell a little joke about Francis. I was working for the store for a while. And Bank of America was, where that store was? The bank?
No, at the bank?
Bank of America. Okay, anyway, that's where the Bailey store did their deposits.
Oh, right.
And I was meeting him with about in the middle of the periwinkle. And I said, you want, I got some deposit slips, so you want to borrow a couple of them? And he just about fell out in the road.
You want to borrow them?
But I ordered him the car.
You ought to know.
Yeah. But I never had any trouble. Then it's white family don't say that.
Thank you. How about Charlotta Matthews?
I didn't know her that well, but I did know her.
No, we all know Charlotta from the tea room, but Eugene would have known her maybe when she was managing the Island Inn.
I thought she owned it.
Well, her family owned it. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, she used to have coconut trees be about this tall, a little taller. And the coconut tree, to put the coconuts a little bit low, and we'd just go there and spin, and it'll fall. And that's how we got our coconuts there. But we used to do most of our lawn work. Did you go with Slocum?
Yep.
We used to call the slow, her name was Slow Come. And we used to call her Slow Come Fast and Go. She had the house right at the left when you go driving.
Okay.
Right at the left, and the hurricane and took it away.
Well, Eric, have you always lived in Lee County, or did you move away for a while?
How about it?
Please, you all right?
No, not this part.
Just kind of glued to his hand there.
On the most part, for a very short period of time, I lived in Georgia, and for a very short period of time, I lived in Minnesota, in St. Paul.
I can see why you came home.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's cool.
Yeah. So I spent the summer in Minneapolis, or I'm sorry, in St. Paul, and I spent the winter in Georgia, and I didn't like either one of them. It was surprisingly hot in Minnesota over the summer. I actually had met I was 18 at that time. I had just graduated from high school, and I was working at Timber's restaurant when I was on Rabbit Road, and I met a young fellow that had moved from Minnesota down here, and his family, he had a problem within his family, and he ended up moving down here. He dropped out of high school. He had a half a credit, and I had never left Sanibel. This was the only place that I had known was Sanibel. And he and I ended up working together at the restaurant, and he told me his story. He got in a big fight with his family, and he didn't graduate high school, and he moved down here. I had just bought a brand new truck, and I was ready to see another part of the country. And I said, well, let's do a road trip. We go back and you go to summer school, get your half credit, fix your relationship with your family, and we come back. And so that's what we did. So that's where I stayed the summer in Minnesota. But it was hot. I remember the people saying we're going to go to the beach, and I knew the beach here, right? Totally different. Totally different concept of beach. And so I was ready. I was missing home a little bit. And we went, and it was a lake. This isn't no beach, But yeah, and it was surprisingly hot. And so I was like, man, I got to go back south where it's cooler. So we came back home, and then in Georgia, I stayed there when I first got married. My first wife, she had 3 kids when we got married. And we were going to start a new life. And so we moved to Atlanta. We had a family up in Atlanta. And so we felt like it'd be a soft landing to move there and start over. But we moved there in the wintertime. And it happened to be, one of the coldest winters in Atlanta at that time. And I was doing concrete work. My brother got me a job up there doing concrete work. Well, at the time that I came, all of the jobs were fresh, so none of the foundations had been poured or anything like that. And it was so cold that we couldn't get the foundation poured so we could do the block work. And so didn't have work, had 3 miles, wanted something to eat. And it was cold. And so that brought me back to this area, and that was enough. I learned my lesson. I deal with the Florida heat, and I deal with the Florida winters. Even though these past couple of weeks have been a little challenging, but I did learn my lesson, and I've stayed home pretty much since then.
I think family had a lot to do with it too. You've got
absolutely.
plenty of family still here.
Absolutely.
And I'm sure that's why
Absolutely.
Eugene came back.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Family.
Family probably had more to do with it than anything else, because, like I said, I was missing home, and home is family. If you understand that concept, family is home, and home is family. You don't have a home if you don't have the families, right? And so that really is what brought me back home, and I knew that I wouldn't ever have a problem finding work because our name was a good name in this area, and people were always willing to to make sure that we were okay, if it meant giving us a job or, whatever it was.
You were a
People-
trusted name.
Right, right. And people always look out for us out here, even when we were forced to move from off of Sanibel Captiva Road. The government was going to push us off. They didn't really care what happened to us, but it was the people of the island who came to bat for us, and they purchased the land on Rabbit Road, and there was a house that was going to be torn down off of Gulf Drive, and they hired I can't think of the name of the company now. Very popular, Flint and Doyle. They hired Flint and Doyle to move the house from off of Gulf Drive onto the land that was purchased for us on Rabbit Road, which is right down the street from where G is living now. And so that's what enabled us to actually stay on the island. And so we've been out here for a long time, but it's a different environment out here. Sanibel is a very unique place. Most of you, I guess, live out here or have visited for quite a while. And the uniqueness of it is what makes the people out here a peaceful people. And it's why everyone has been able to get along with one another. There was some individuals, there's a bad batch, there's bad people in every batch, but on the most part, it was suppressed. I think that you were getting around to the time when one of the houses was burned down that we lived in. So yes, that did happen. Yes, there were some things that occurred on the island that, that weren't so pleasant. But I'll tell you a funny story. When I was in elementary school, we did a Christmas play at the Episcopal Church over here, and I don't remember everybody else's part. I remember my part, and when I done my part, I was super proud. I got this great part, and so what my responsibility was to be the donkey. That was shaggy and brown, who carried Jesus's mother uphill and down. I delivered her safely to Bethlehem town. I said the donkey, shaggy and brown. And when I said it, everybody laughs, and then I thought, man, they really like my singing. And later on, I realized that, there's another term for donkey that isn't so pleasant. And I happen to be shaggy and brown. And but it makes me laugh to think back on it now. But in looking back at it, I know there was a wink, wink, and a nod of the head to say, let's get that guy to be the donkey. But yeah, that's one of those things that I never forget. But it's a minor thing when you look at how far we've come as human beings, to where we have learned to get along with each other on the most part. It's not as blatant. Racism isn't as blatant as it once was. It transitioned from blatant racism to systemic racism. And unfortunately, we're at a time where we're making another transition from the systemic to more blatant. And I hope and pray that as families, as communities, as a nation, and as a world, that we will remember how dirty and ugly that it was, and that we do everything that we possibly can to keep that suppressed. That doesn't need to wake up again. We don't need many lives from all different races were lost during those times of hatred and rebellion and racism. love is such a better thing. Love is what made us make the progress that we did. And to go backwards is not wisdom. To go backwards is foolishness. And we need to make sure that we, within our homes, that we teach our children to love one another, right? We need to, within our community, make sure that poison doesn't disrupt the love that's within the communities. And as a nation, we need to vote according to what it is that we know and understand is good for us as a people, as human beings, as a nation, as children of God, right? We gotta make sure that those things are kept in their place and we continue to move forward. That's how we'll succeed.
Do you want to be a politician?
I've seen what they do.
If you were a politician, you wouldn't be able to tell the truth all the time.
Right.
That's true.
But just the fact that, I mean, you all have come and you want to hear our story, you know, and we did the best that we can to share our story. And I hope that out of all of what it is that we said today, I hope that you got the most important thing was that in growing up on this island, everybody looked out for each other. There was a love relationship. And part of that, I got to give credit to the individuals who make sure that the natural things of the island stay in place. We've got so much land that's dedicated to wildlife and to vegetation and stuff like that. We try to do the best that we can to keep the water clean, to keep the beaches clean. And these are places where we find serenity and find peace. And so many people travel for a long distance to try to get to this place for those moments of serenity, you know, where they can go to the beach and watch the sunrise or the sunset, or they can walk through a park and, you know, and see the birds and the animals and so forth, and go fishing. Those are the things that resonate within us as people and enable us to be at peace. And I think that's one of the main reasons why when all around the country there was so much hatred and stuff going on, it wasn't prominent here, you know. And so with that small bit of wisdom, we can plant that seed and allow it to grow, and little by little, one family at a time, we can make the world a better place.
I think it's meaning to obscure you here. This is a picture of the Episcopal Church on the island. And it was built in 1963, I think. And Father Madden was our pastor then. And he was the first church to invite the Black community into his congregation. And that's how I met my Black neighbors. It was.
And the church was integrated.
Yes, it was integrated. I think people forget how much that church meant to all of us here on the island, because we really got to know each other even better after they integrated. So I just want to throw that in there. I know it's getting a little late, but I did want to go through because, again, many of you are volunteers, are docents here, and the pictures behind us here are, of course, Grandma Pearl and Hannah. There is a dress there that was, I believe, Pearl's favorite dress. Eugene, you gave that to the museum at one time.
I never wore it though.
Did y'all hear that back there? He didn't have his microphone. He said he never wore it.
Yeah. She was a little lady.
Yeah,
But we're really tickled to have it because she really did consider this her paradise. She really did. She loved Sanibel with all her heart. And I think we have a picture of behind you of the people working. That could have been the mayor house. That could have even been the foundation for this house.
That was Bay Drive. All of
Okay.
those houses that was on Bay Drive.
Okay.
Dad and his brother was doing seawalls.
Okay.
And that's
Right.
what they doing right here, is doing the seawall down through there.
Right.
And the mayors were the responsible people for them doing that work.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. And I'm sorry that we didn't get to have Kenneth here. This is a plaque that we have in the caretaker's cottage that talks about his career as a minister in Michigan, right? Michigan?
Right.
In Arbor, Michigan.
Right. Did you visit him there, Eric?
Yes.
Yes, okay. So I was going to ask him what made him come back here, but I just figured it's family, because he was probably used to cold weather by
At that
then.
point,
Yeah.
By the way, I was in the military 8.5 years, Air Force. Hitman was in that 12 years.
Buster, we called him Buster.
Yeah,
Edmund
Junior.
Hitman Jr.
Jr.
And Kenneth was in there for 4.5 years. We were all Air Force.
Thank you for service.
Fly away.
I love it. And another item that I know some of the docents have wondered, this was a clay sculpture that someone gave you. And I believe this is your father and mother and Maddie. Who is Maddie?
Aunt Maddie. That's
Daddy was
Uncle
Oscar
Oscar.
wife.
She was what? I'm sorry?
That was Oscar
Uncle
Gavin's
Oscar
wife.
wife.
Uncle Oscar.
Oh, Uncle Oscar's wife. Okay.
Mhm.
And we see her actually in Betty Anholt's book. I believe she registered to vote, I think it was. And I think she has a really lovely picture in Betty Anholt's book.
Mhm.
I'm not going to ask if Eugene has anything more to say.
No.
But I will ask if there are any questions, any quick questions you think would be useful to us today.
Hi, Paul. Hi, I'm Docent Noel, and I've spoken to Eugene. And I guess I want to know, like, just the impact. I read that Father Madden would go and get money from the banks because the African American families could not really borrow money from the banks. So he did that and did tell the bank people that it was what it was borrowing it for. So I just want to say that it had to be really hard. I don't know whether you guys, your family could actually own land on Sanibel till a much later date. But anyway, that's one of the things we're just trying to tell, what it was like, I guess.
Any comments? Any comments?
Our family, because we were here from 1917, we passed through that time when you're allowed to homestead property, but Black families weren't allowed to homestead property. And so we didn't purchase land, in the early years of the time that we were here. We did everything that homesteaders would do. The land that we were on Sanibel Captiva Road, how many years we were there. That's where I was
About
born.
50.
Yeah, that's where I was born, was in that house. And, but we weren't able to own it. And there's a lot of other details about that I'm not really going to get into, but that probably has a lot to do with it. Father Madden, I remember my very first job that I got, where I got paid. I worked for Dad, but Dad didn't pay.
I didn't have to back him up. You got paid.
Well, yeah, like Dad would say, you got a roof over your head and this and that, but I had to go hunt with him to get it. And I had to go throw the net, big catch of fish. But anyway, yeah, I know you would. Yeah. But yeah, so it was a little bit different for us. And so it was a lot easier for us to be moved off of the property that we were on. But I'll tell you a great story, and this is about love in a household. Growing up at the house that I lived in, a lot of that we lived in on Sanibel Captiva Road, it was a shed. Whenever it rained, you had to go outside to keep from getting wet. And it was kind of embarrassing because all my friends had, nice houses out here. And so I never invited any of my friends to the house there on Sandcap Road. Loving family and everything, but it was just so different than what all my friends had, And so when we moved, I didn't understand the whole thing about, you taking something from us and all of that sort of thing. I didn't understand that. The only thing that I understood was that the new house that we were moving into was a nice house, in comparison. It had running water, inside bathrooms, all of this different stuff. They brought it up to the code of 1975. And so my birthday came, and little did my mom know, I threw a birthday party for myself. And so I told all of my friends, we're having a birthday party at our house, and I wanted them to see the new house that we had that was up to date and everything like that. And so bus rolls up to the front of the house, and all these kids get off the bus, and mom's looking like, what in the world is going on? And Mr. Whiteman, Mary Lee Whiteman, her son, Eric, his name was Eric also, she had brought Eric to the party, her son, Eric. And so her and mom was like, I don't know, cake, I don't know, they invited all these people. Well, she went and got a cake and everything. And Miss Whiteman got gifts, and stuff, and made it a birthday celebration for me, And
That was nice.
I didn't even get a spanking or nothing.
That was nice.
And
Yes, sir.
I've gotten a little late, maybe you covered this, but the Gavin Plumbing Company, can you give us some background on that? I think our current house was built in 2007, and I think you guys put in the sewer pipes and everything.
Yeah, we all worked for Oscar Gavin. He had the plumbing company. Eugene had a plumbing company. My brother Ron had a plumbing company. All of us did plumbing at some point. I later got into the fire service. I was a firefighter and resigned from the fire department in 2006. But yeah, Oscar established a company out here on the island and had a very good name. And he probably did because he was doing a lot of that work during that time. I wasn't working as plumber in 2006. I think I was working at the high school at that, 2008.
Like I was working on it.
You were with us in 2006. But yeah, all of us that went through plumbing, myself, Eugene, Lynn has a company, that's another one. Lynn, Kelvin, Stan had a plumbing company. Brian, Charles, all of us worked for Oscar doing plumbing at some point out here on the island. And this is my wife, Casey. There was a time back, 2011, I'm sorry. 2011, she got very sick with, she had diabetes, juvenile diabetes, and she needed a transplant. And again, this is the beauty of the people on the island. I was working for Oscar at the time, and we put together, he put together the mailing list for his customers. And he sent out, I wrote a letter, and he sent it out to all of the customers because she was going to have a transplant. And I don't know about what anybody's spiritual, thing is, but I'll tell you about mine. Timing is everything when it comes to life itself. And timing is everything. And one Sunday we went to church. We had a prayer service, and on the Sunday evening prayer service, and one of the pastors prayed. I feel like I need to pray for somebody who's having a problem with kidney. And we had been waiting for quite a few months for the transplant. one of the things that I needed to do before we left, because we were going to get the call, and when you get the call, you drop everything and you leave. So one of the things that I needed to do so that we could get some of the financial support that we needed was I needed to put that letter together so that Usher could mail them out. And one of them went to the island paper and so forth. And we got an amazing response. But the thing is that Sunday night after the church service, I wrote the letter and I turned it in to Oster when I got to work that Monday morning. 1 o'clock that afternoon, we got the call. And we packed up and left and went to Tampa for a transplant. Unfortunately, she's going through an episode of kidney failure again. It's been 14 years or whatever. It's just 15 years, which is a good long time for a kidney transplant. But we're trusting in God to deliver through this time as well. But the people of the island stood up and really represented true love for the community. And there's that term that says it takes a village, to raise a family. And Sanibel has been a huge part of our village all the way from the beginning. And I'm so grateful for what it is that this island has been for us and for our ability to grow up in such a place to where we could learn and make a contribution ourselves to this community as well. There's a very good reciprocating relationship. Always has been, and I've heard about it, and always will be.
That's right, Debbie.
I just wanted to end with this picture here. Was this in the 70s? Do you think?
Wow.
That was 80, I think. But no, that was in the 80s. Because I was
80s?
working at Timbers. That picture was taken at Timbers, I think.
Oh, good.
1983, maybe.
That's the biggest group of Gavins I've ever seen.
That's
So-
probably the biggest group that was in a photo. Unfortunately, for all of the kids that we have,
I'll show you a bigger one.
Oh,
we've
I'll show you the closing date.
Everyone is on there, and
true.
right.
who missing?
So you've been talking about the big family. How many kids were there? Talk to me.
Some say 20 and some say 21.
Ah,
So I don't claim interest that amount more.
I think mother was pregnant 21 times, and 18 of us lived to adulthood.
and any idea how many girls or boys?
It was 12 and 6, 6 girls.
6 girls. The dad used to say he had football teams.
And cheerleaders. And some cheerleaders. Yeah.
I don't have a question, but I have to say, see the two of you there sitting here. You can
I
say
know what you're gonna
that's
say.
exactly what you look like when you was at it. You could be twins.
I didn't know he was that handsome. I really didn't.
How many years between you? You were born in 42,
And I was
and you were born in 65.
65.
I'm 42, my son in 65. That's why I could remember those dates.
Yeah.
That's exactly my family.
That's
We're born
awesome.
on the same day.
all right, nice.
It's the Gavin part where you're on
No.
Fort Fire Street. That's no relation.
No.
Yeah.
I buy from him occasionally. When Gavin Enterprise. That's my big. But I haven't enterprise nothing, at least lately. Doesn't sit.
It's funny because my brother Ron had a plumbing company, and so his name was Ron Gavin. But the family that has Gavin Ace had a sibling named Ron also. And so they used to get each other's mail. Yeah.
One of your family is, I've heard, is a jazz musician or teacher.
That's Oscar.
That's Oscar's son, Paul.
And he's very talented.
Very talented, very talented. He gives back to the community. He could have done anything with his talent, but he has a band. But his preference is to, he loves going out to schools and working with kids. he goes to like senior citizen facilities and brings all of his drums and let them play the drums and different things. And that's his passion, and encouraging other up and coming musicians, you know, teaching them the ropes and how to find their way through the music industry and stuff like that. Great kid, really great kid, very talented too. Thank you for that.
He's mayor.
Well, I think we have a lot of questions, and then the Gavins may stick around a little bit more.
Lunch.
For cookies. But we really want to thank them for sharing their time and their memories, and we're so glad that we had it filmed today. So thank you, and